My sister-in-law Brianna gifted my son Ethan a premium genetic testing service for his 10th birthday with the intention of stirring doubt about his paternity. My husband Kyle and I met in our late teens and married after 3 years of dating. Together, we built a life filled with love, trust, and joy, welcoming Ethan into our world who brought immense happiness to our family. Our relationship with Brianna had always been strained. From passive-aggressive Instagram stories to outright accusations during family events, she seemed determined to create discord. At her elaborate wedding, despite following her strict dress code, she accused me of trying to overshadow her in front of her followers, escalating tensions. This behavior continued with Brianna often downplaying Ethan's achievements in comparison to her son Phoenix on her social media posts. Despite the negativity, Kyle and I focused on maintaining peace, especially for the cousins to grow up close. However, Brianna's actions escalated when she live-streamed Ethan's birthday party. "Look at these amazing gifts for the boys," she announced to her thousands of viewers. "Phoenix gets this incredible gaming setup, and Ethan gets this fascinating genetic testing kit. Both are investments in their futures," she said. Though Ethan was intrigued by the science, Brianna's smug demeanor and the way she positioned the camera suggested ulterior motives. The price difference was obvious to anyone watching. Phoenix's gaming PC was worth $5,000 while Ethan's test kit cost barely $100. Kyle later shared that Brianna had been posting cryptic stories about genetics and family traits, exploiting the fact that Ethan's green eyes were different from ours to insinuate Kyle might not be his father. Despite the shock, Kyle and I stood firm, trusting our bond and refusing to let Brianna's manipulation affect us. We let Ethan take the test, committed to handling whatever results it might show. However, a twist of fate revealed that Brianna's own children, including Phoenix, were not biologically related to her husband. This discovery shifted the dynamics, turning the tables on Brianna's malicious plot and highlighting the unexpected outcomes that can arise from such divisive actions. In the end, our family's strength and unity prevailed, reinforcing that truth and love could withstand even the most malicious attempts to undermine them. Kyle was confident that a genetic test would merely confirm what they already believed, that Ethan was undoubtedly our son and nothing could alter that fact. Ethan, oblivious to the underlying stress his parents felt, was thrilled by the scientific aspects of the genetic test. He was eager to uncover his genetic history and explore his ancestral roots, so we supported him in sending off his sample. Meanwhile, Brianna's son Phoenix, a curious 14-year-old, observed the whole process with keen interest. Prompted by his curiosity and his father Drake's suggestion of making it a fun family project for content, they also decided to get a genetic test for him. Family Science Sunday. Brianna announced in her weekly live stream. "We're going to discover amazing things about our genetics," she said. What began as simple curiosity and content creation soon escalated into a dramatic family crisis broadcast to 50,000 live viewers. Ethan's results arrived, confirming Kyle as his father, aligning with our expectations. However, the family was blindsided when Phoenix's results revealed during the livestream that Drake was not his biological father. The truth exposed Brianna's long-concealed affair from over a decade ago, showing that Phoenix was not Drake's biological son. The revelation devastated Drake, who had lovingly raised Phoenix as his own, never suspecting Brianna's betrayal. In his distress, Drake demanded a paternity test for their younger daughter Ivy, only to discover he wasn't her father either. Brianna's carefully constructed image of a perfect life began to crumble publicly, revealing her infidelity and shattering her family's peace in front of thousands of followers. The comments section exploded with shock and judgment as screenshots spread across social media platforms. The fallout was swift and severe. Within days, Drake filed for divorce and moved out while Brianna's follower count plummeted as sponsors pulled their contracts. Brianna's world, once secure and controlled, was now in ruins. Ironically, her efforts to undermine my marriage had only led to the exposure of her own deceit. Phoenix suffered the most, transitioning overnight from a carefree, happy teenager to a bewildered and heartbroken young man. The father he had known and loved his entire life was not his biological parent, and his family structure was disintegrating while strangers online dissected every detail. Ethan too was deeply affected. Close to Phoenix, he felt troubled by his cousin's pain and began asking questions about why Phoenix's dad was no longer around, which was heartbreaking to witness. As time passed, Drake pursued full custody of the children, determined to shield them from Brianna's influence and the ongoing social media circus. Once the controlling pillar of the family, Brianna now appeared as a mere shadow of her former self at family gatherings, nervous, pale, and tear-streaked, her phone constantly buzzing with cruel comments. In a surprising turn of events, Brianna reached out to me. Her voice was shaky and filled with tears as she pleaded for help. She asked me to speak with Drake to soften his stance on the custody arrangements. Despite everything, she was desperate to maintain some connection with her children and was now seeking advice from me, the very person she had once tried so hard to bring down. I was completely shocked by her behavior. After all the trouble she had caused trying to sabotage my marriage and creating chaos whenever possible, she still had the nerve to ask for my assistance. At first, I ignored her calls, reluctant to even consider the idea of helping her. However, as time passed, my thoughts kept returning to Phoenix. He was an innocent bystander in all of this. None of it was his fault, yet he was the one who was suffering the most. Ethan was also affected, struggling to grasp why his cousin's life was in such turmoil. I found myself torn. Brianna's actions were inexcusable, but were her children to blame as well? Should I really let my anger towards her affect them? Kyle insisted I stay out of it. He firmly believed Brianna needed to face the consequences of her actions alone. Yet something inside me couldn't ignore the fact that perhaps I could help ease some of the pain for the kids. They weren't responsible for their mother's poor decisions or her need for online validation. Now I found myself at a crossroads, unsure of the right path to take. Should I extend help to Brianna for the sake of her children, or should I distance myself from someone who had caused so much distress? It's a tough decision to make, and here I am, struggling between doing what seems right for the kids and maintaining my distance from a person who has brought so much turmoil into our lives. Brianna hasn't stopped reaching out. Honestly, it's getting overwhelming. Despite hoping she might ease off, she continues to be relentless. There was a particularly intense day when she called 4 times, leaving long, tearful voicemails. I could hear her desperation, but it was hard to feel much sympathy after everything. My husband Kyle reached his limit one day. It's rare for him to lose his temper, but he ended up calling her back. I could hear the anger in his voice from across the room as he confronted her, telling her he was done with her disrespect and manipulation. Brianna, this isn't just about one incident, he said firmly. This is about years of underhanded remarks, manipulative behavior, and a total disregard for our boundaries. I'm done with your games, he said. Brianna's reaction was heartbreaking. She broke down, accusing me of turning Kyle against her and her family. Lexi poisoned you against us. She sobbed. She's always been jealous of our success. She said. Hearing her sob was conflicting. Part of me felt a hint of sympathy, but mostly I was just exhausted. After that call, the dynamic changed again, and navigating the situation has only become more complicated. She kept messaging me, oscillating between pleading for my help and accusing me of plotting against her. One moment, she'd desperately say she needed me to mediate with Drake to mend things, and the next she'd label me as manipulative, accusing me of being envious of her family life and wanting to dismantle her marriage. Please, Lexi, you have to help me, one text read. The next hour, I know you're behind this. You always resented our happiness. It was perplexing. I felt either vilified or venerated by her, with no in-between. Frankly, it's been draining to handle her emotional swings. It's like being trapped on an unwanted roller coaster ride. Throughout this ordeal, my primary worry has been about the children, who are truly blameless yet deeply impacted. My heart particularly goes out to Phoenix and Ethan. The shocking truth about Phoenix's real father has shaken him profoundly, and it's evident he's struggling to come to terms with it. It's painful to watch him suffer and feel powerless to ease his confusion. Ethan, though younger and less aware of the full scope of the situation, senses that something is amiss. At a recent family get-together, Ethan eagerly anticipated playing with Phoenix, hoping for the camaraderie they once shared. Sadly, Phoenix was noticeably withdrawn and disengaged, leaving Ethan puzzled and hurt. He kept wondering why Phoenix wasn't his usual playful self. "Mom, why is Phoenix so sad?" Ethan asked me with those innocent green eyes. Did I do something wrong? I couldn't bring myself to explain the real reason, so I brushed it off saying Phoenix was just tired or had a lot on his mind, though I knew it was much more than that. Meanwhile, Brianna's messages have become increasingly dramatic. Just yesterday, she texted accusing our family of betrayal. "You destroyed my family," the message read. I was tempted to confront her. How could she feel betrayed when it was her decisions that sparked this chaos? Yet she persists in blaming everyone else such as me, Kyle, Drake, and never acknowledging her own role in these issues. Kyle and I have spent countless nights discussing how to best support the kids amidst this turmoil. While Kyle thinks we should intervene for Phoenix's sake, especially given his closeness to Ethan, he's also cautious about the repercussions of delving too deeply into Brianna's troubles. We've been striving to balance our support for the children with maintaining our own peace, but it's becoming increasingly challenging. To complicate matters, Drake has been contacting Kyle, seeking clarity and understanding. After meeting Drake for coffee, Kyle returned looking even more conflicted than before. Drake is understandably shattered. He confided in Kyle that he feels his entire life has been upended, and now he's grappling with how to co-parent with Brianna in the aftermath of their personal upheaval. "I don't even know who I am anymore," Drake had told Kyle. "Everything I thought I knew about my family was a lie," he said. Having these conversations with Drake really brought out the complexities of the situation for Kyle. Drake is undoubtedly a decent man caught in an exceedingly tough situation, doing his utmost to provide for his children amidst the turmoil. The more Kyle learned from Drake, the more conflicted he became about the best way forward. Although Kyle is eager to help, he is well aware that getting too involved could inadvertently pull him deeper into the complications surrounding Brianna. Every interaction with Phoenix intensifies the desire to help. This young boy, innocently entangled in the chaos, doesn't deserve any part of it. Ethan often questions why Phoenix appears so melancholy, and it's heart-wrenching for Kyle to remain unable to provide a straightforward answer. The dilemma deepens as Kyle grapples with the impulse to intervene against the backdrop of potentially getting drawn into the vortex of Brianna's disarray. Ultimately, the protection of the children is Kyle's paramount concern. Both Phoenix and Ethan are innocent and shouldn't have to bear the brunt of their parents' lapses. Witnessing their distress is agonizing, and Kyle is torn between the desire to act and the fear of the repercussions. The path forward is unclear, but the hope is to navigate this situation with minimal additional distress. Brianna, dissatisfied with a non-conclusive at-home genetic test, opted for a formal medical paternity test. Despite the inherent inaccuracies of home kits, Brianna held on to a sliver of hope. However, the medical test results mirrored those of the initial test, confirming Drake is not the father of either child, which only deepened Brianna's predicament. Although the outcome was anticipated, it was still a painful confirmation for everyone, especially Drake, who had braced for the worst yet harbored a faint hope of a different outcome. After absorbing the blow, Drake became increasingly reclusive. A further twist occurred when he decided to investigate and confront a former business partner of Brianna whom he suspected of having an affair with her years ago. Drake's long-standing suspicions about their unusually close relationship, marked by shared networking events and late-night video calls, were always dismissed by Brianna as mere professional interactions. "It's just business, Drake," she would insist whenever he questioned their relationship. "You're being paranoid," she even said that. With his suspicions seemingly validated, Drake confronted the man at his office. Driven by a tumult of emotions, Drake was deeply wounded, overwhelmed with anger, and desperate for answers. When things escalated rapidly, initially the other man denied everything, which only fueled Drake's frustration, leading to a loud argument that quickly turned physical. "You destroyed my family," Drake shouted as they struggled. The noise caught the attention of security, who called the police. By the time the officers arrived, both Drake and the man were visibly injured. The altercation resulted in Drake being arrested and charged with assault, plunging him into serious legal troubles. Kyle stepped in to assist, heading to the police station and posting bail for Drake. However, Drake now faces daunting legal battles, claiming the altercation was provoked, a difficult point to prove in court. The situation seems to spiral further out of control, rooted deeply in Brianna's years-long concealment of the truth. It's painful to watch Drake, once so composed, unravel so dramatically. Meanwhile, Brianna is frantically trying to manage the fallout, but to little avail. Drake has responded by filing for full custody of their children, citing the affair, the paternity results, and the recent fight as evidence of Brianna's unfitness as a mother. In desperation, Brianna portrays Drake as dangerously unstable, fearing she might lose her children. "He's completely lost it," she posted on her Instagram stories. "I'm scared for my safety and my children's," she posted again. The conflict between Brianna and Drake worsens daily. Drake is enraged by Brianna's deceit, while Brianna desperately tries to cling to any control over her unraveling life. The toll on both of them is evident, but my concern lies heavily with their children. Phoenix and Ivy. Drake has considered moving out of state for a fresh start, which could further complicate the children's lives. Brianna's emotional volatility is exhausting. She swings between seeking support and accusing me of conspiring against her, making it difficult to maintain sympathy for her despite her clear downward spiral. Her inability to accept responsibility for her actions complicates any attempt to help her. At this point, involvement seems inevitable. Kyle and I are leaning towards supporting Drake through his legal challenges, viewing him as the more stable parent. Yet the potential impact on Phoenix and Ivy, caught in a battle they never chose, is deeply concerning. Phoenix's recent withdrawal and confusion are heartbreaking, especially when considering the significant revelations about his family. This situation, complex and fraught with emotional turmoil, demands careful navigation to support those most vulnerable, the children. I'm finding it challenging to find a way to communicate this to him in terms he can understand. The situation has been spiraling out of control, and each day seems to bring a new challenge that only adds to the chaos. We're doing our best to handle things day by day, holding on to hope and praying for the best. However, it's becoming increasingly difficult to remain optimistic with so much uncertainty looming over us. Reflecting on everything regarding Drake and the man Brianna had an affair with, you might recall the altercation that led to Drake's arrest. While it initially looked like Drake might face serious charges, the other man chose not to press charges. He seems to have wanted to distance himself from the entire ordeal, recognizing that any further involvement could only worsen his personal and professional situation. He's cut ties with both Drake and Brianna, effectively closing that tumultuous chapter. Now about the kids, this has been the most emotionally taxing part. Drake initially sought full custody, which alarmed Brianna. However, after some deep conversations and reflection, Drake had a realization. Regardless of what the paternity tests might reveal, Phoenix and Ivy are his children. He's been their father from the start, providing love, guidance, and support. This bond goes beyond DNA. Drake explained to us that his pursuit of custody is no longer driven by anger or revenge, but by a desire to protect the kids from the turmoil Brianna has caused. "They didn't ask for any of this," he told Kyle during one of their coffee meetings. "I just want to give them stability," Drake added. He's been remarkable throughout this ordeal, clearly demonstrating his love and commitment to his children. He's made it a point to ensure they know that regardless of what happens between him and Brianna, they are his children, loved unconditionally. Drake handled the situation with incredible sensitivity. He spoke to the kids in an age-appropriate manner, careful not to overwhelm them but ensuring they understood the changes happening around them. He reassured them that they were not to blame for any of this. "You are my children, no matter what," he told them. "Nothing will ever change that." Phoenix, in particular, has found this reassurance comforting, though he's still trying to come to terms with everything. Meanwhile, Brianna has been struggling significantly, still in a state of panic and failing to address the children's emotional needs effectively. Brianna has been caught up in managing her public image and addressing the issues she created, while Drake has taken on the role of primary caregiver. He has been actively involved in their children's lives, attending school events and managing their healthcare needs. This contrast in priorities has been difficult to observe, as Brianna appears more focused on external perceptions than the internal dynamics of her family. Amidst their ongoing custody battle, Drake has shifted his stance to seek joint custody, recognizing the importance of the children maintaining a relationship with their mother despite the challenges. Although Drake initially aimed for full custody due to his stability, he now seeks primary custody to ensure the children have the security and normalcy they've been missing. The court seems to favor Drake, noting his role in providing stability and his evident dedication. Meanwhile, Brianna's actions have not aided her case. She portrays herself as a victim and tries to undermine Drake by highlighting his past emotional reactions, which clearly stemmed from his hurt. As for their marriage, it is irretrievably broken, and the divorce is proceeding. Drake has reached a place of acceptance, no longer harboring anger towards Brianna but feeling a profound sadness over what was lost and the impact on their children. His focus now is firmly on the future and being the best father possible. Through this ordeal, Kyle and I have remained supportive, trying to keep a healthy distance from the conflict while ensuring that Phoenix, along with his cousin Ethan, maintains a sense of normalcy and connection, which seems to be a positive influence during these unstable times. One key lesson from this situation is the remarkable resilience of children when enveloped in love. Drake's steadfast love and dedication have been crucial anchors for the children. "You know what?" Ethan said to me just yesterday. "Phoenix seems happier now that his dad isn't sad all the time," he said. It broke my heart and filled it with hope at the same time. I am also immensely grateful for the support from friends and family. Their advice and encouragement have been invaluable during this overwhelming time. As things continue to evolve, I am hopeful that we are moving past the hardest part, with the children still enveloped in love, which is ultimately what matters most. Drake has found his footing as a single father, and Phoenix and Ivy are slowly adjusting to their new normal. Even Brianna seems to be taking steps toward healing, though it's a long road ahead. The social media circus has died down, and she's been attending therapy sessions. "Maybe this was what I needed," she confided to me in a rare moment of vulnerability. "To lose everything to find out what really matters."